Good evening, everybody. My name is Rich, and this is Reviews with Rich, back with another film club. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 1979 classic Alien. I haven't seen this film in over 20 years, and let me tell you, I had one hell of a time with it. Perfect for Halloween season because it is horror sci-fi at its best. Bit of a peek behind the curtain. I did this intro, but I did not click go live. So it's a good job you didn't hear any expletives because I was throwing them out. I can't be doing this on my own. Layal, who I advertise as we joined today, will not be joining today simply because I got the time difference wrong. Our time went back an hour in the UK, and it didn't go back in America, turns out. So that's not for another week, apparently. So apologies to Layal, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. If it's your first time joining us, thank you very much. Please subscribe to the channel. I've just hit recently 300 subscribers, and it was a real milestone for me. I've only been doing this for a few months properly, consistently, and it really means a lot for everybody's support. So everybody out there, thank you so much. I'm going to introduce my friends to the panel, and one of them is all the way in Australia. And she is the new sensation within YouTube, and a really likable lady, and a really nice, really good support, and great to have on the panel. Her name is Leslie. How you doing?
Hi, Rich. How are you? Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction.
It's true. It's true. It's great to have you on. Thank you so much. For everybody out there who haven't seen Rise and Chai, we had a great time last Thursday, myself, Leslie, and Leal, and we had just basically shot the shit for an hour, and it was great. We had a great chat, and if anybody would like to join us next week on there, please hashtag light ice to wind up Leal, because he's a man with demands. He's quite the diva when it comes to his chai tea. So,
oh my God.
So remember that on Thursday this week. So I also have a fantastic YouTuber. He's also a friend. I like to call him my friend. His name is Shane. In the Emerald Isle, he is representing. He did a fantastic job on his live stream last night. I forgot to mention where he dressed as a stormtrooper for Halloween. Only caught some of it today, but what a fantastic live stream and commitment to that stream. He was wearing the proper replica stormtrooper suit. So if you haven't seen it already, please go and check it on his channel. His name is Shane. 16-figure focus. How you doing, brother?
I just come here for the intros. Could you say all that again? Thanks very much, Rich. This week's going to be a very different show, because this is a film that I am fucking... sorry, pardon my French.
I'm
100% all in on. So I'm going to be an absolute dose of fanboy. I'm going to be the complete opposite of last week. But well,
it's nice to mix it up a bit.
It is. Otherwise, it would just be boring. Exactly. Look, I'm unapologetic when I don't like something, and I'm unapologetic when I love something. So you're going to get a dose of passion tonight.
No, that's just wonderful.
One thing I will say about the stream last night, if anyone hasn't seen it, just watch the intro, just the first 5 minutes. That's where the fun is. If you don't want to watch the whole thing,
the dubstep is.
If you want to see a DJ Stormtrooper, who doesn't? But
I thought you were on the ones and twos. To be honest with you, I thought you were
on the Technics. Is it?
Yeah, I thought you were on the old Technics.
No, definitely not.
So funny.
I just used. I probably going to get a copyright strike for that because I just typed into YouTube Imperial March dubstep, and apparently there's loads of different types. But
there's heaps.
Yeah, so good though.
It sounded really good.
Bangers,
it sounded really good. Yeah. It was really good. I was quite impressed. I thought you'd prepared it, to be honest with you.
No, I do mix out the other music for the intros and stuff like that. I do on GarageBand, but anyone can. Yeah, it's so GarageBand is so easy to use. You don't need any. I'm assuming loads of talented people actually use it, but you don't really necessarily need to have any talent to put a few basic intros and songs together. But yeah, looking forward to this one. And back on the beer.
Well
good
done.
Lad. I had my first beer in over a month today. I started my new job. and I went out with
Congrats.
one of the directors. Thank you very much. I went out with one of the directors afterwards, had a bit of a debrief, and we had a pint to talk about it, and it was just great. It was just like, yes, I'm back. So, so it was nice to have. It was nice to have a month off, but it's also nice to do it in moderation back again. So, I want to quickly address the chat, and there's some lovely people on here already. Empire Strikes Again. Hi, Rich, panel and chat. Hi, everybody. Triple G. Hi, Pete. Got to get you on one week. Anytime you are more than welcome, Pete. Anytime. People saying hello to each other. Les saying hi. Everyone's saying hello. Insane One, thank you. What are the best detox cleaning products?
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm just joking because Lael's always making jokes about me cleaning my details, but today I actually did clean my details. I
did
took
you really?
everything down. I cleaned everything up. I did a bit of rearranging in the room and just.
It looks spot on.
I'm doing a bunch of content tomorrow, and I just wanted to have everything ready. But and I had to pop
Lando. Yeah, I've noticed
Very
he's new there.
nice.
Yeah,
and
Beautiful.
The T800 there.
Yeah. I just full screen you a
Yeah.
sec.
The-
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my god.
He's in a very boring
yes!
pose. He's in a very boring pose.
I
Because
love
the
it.
pose I wanted him in, I wanted him holding the shotgun with his left hand up like that, and then holding the machine gun out in front, and it looked very well, and it did fit in the details. But because the gun is so long, I had to put him very far back in the detail, and it didn't just look right.
Right.
So that's what I have for the time being. But I'm going to repose him. There's another pose I have in mind. Apparently, when he walks into the police shootout scene in the first film, he's actually holding the butt of the shotgun and rests it on his shoulder, and he has the Uzi in the other hand. So
Like
I might
that.
go for that one. It's just it's
Yeah,
kind of
that'd
like
be
holding
cool.
it.
That's
like,
a good
he's holding
idea,
the end of it
Shane.
low, and he's resting it. Pardon?
Oh,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because it doesn't take up as much space. Then I'm pretty sure I've seen him do that, but yeah, I was really
It looks.
happy with that.
You've got some really, really nice pieces there in the background. I like
you.
it.
Yeah.
It looks great. Looks great.
This I was really skeptical about this because he's just a blue guy in a blue cape, and I was like, okay. And then I got him for a good deal. I took him out, and I was like, all right. I've heard people give out about this cape a lot, and I futzed it a bit, and I put it on the shelf, and I was like, oh, it's still very flared out. It needs to, but Gravity did a bit of work and it brought it down a bit. And it's not the most exciting figure. When I'm looking at it, it's a very classy looking figure.
Yes, yeah, looks classy.
You know what I mean? It's not the most exciting, but it does look tasteful. I just need to futz it a bit more so it drapes down.
I did a similar thing with my in-game Thor that I was talking to you about over the weekend, and I'd got him posed up. I don't know if you can see it down there, but basically
the gantry looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's so good. It's so good, man. It's so good.
That looks amazing.
I took off I'll try full screen myself. So basically, there's a part that goes there and then goes in front of him when you're putting together the chest piece. But I wanted to take that off and have it obviously framed better. Now there's lights underneath it that are shining up, but I've also got an LED strip as well shooting up. But
very cool.
It's just stunning. It's absolutely stunning. It's
a showstopper.
It really is. It really is. Batman's been moved to one side. I mean, that's how good he is. But it's just stunning. And like, obviously, I've got new appreciation for the older diecast. You see, like your Mark 6 and this is Mark 4. Because how bulky they are and how like just solid. And I really like them. We've said this before about the old school Iron Man suits. They feel like there's a man in a suit rather than just being a man just covered in.
It's like a wearable tank. Like it's
exactly. Yeah, it's just amazing. So I mean, if they release 2.0, I'm not angry about it. I'm happy with what I've got, and it's just amazing. So I'm going to try and find one of those they're called soap generators where you can have them always on. So I'm going to look at getting one of those. I think it's just well worth it for that one, but it's showstopper. Yeah. So if anybody out there, thoroughly recommend you getting one if you get the opportunity. I got one from my buddy Owen. So shout out to Owen there. He's called In the Detoff, I think his username on Instagram. Quick story before we get into Alien. I almost got scammed today on the Facebook groups. Yeah, on the Facebook group. I've been scammed before on Facebook and stuff, but there's this guy who approached me about some stuff that I'm selling, and he's like, "Oh, would you do a trade?" And he offered some like quite good replacements or things to go and trade with me. I was like, okay. I thought, I bloody recognize this guy's name. Typed it into the groups, and there's a big warning about, I'm not going to say his name on here, but there's a big warning about how he'd scam somebody else in the community on these Facebook groups. And
Wow.
so I sent him the screenshot of the person saying this man's a scammer, sent it to the guy and said, no, sorry, and then I blocked him. So he knows that we're onto him a bit. So I just wanted to so everybody be careful out there, because obviously it's really dodgy sometimes with stuff like that. But anyway, I just want to quickly say hello to the chat again. Sorry about that quick distraction. Do you like a villain? How are you? Everyone's saying hello to each other. I hope my wife, my beautiful wife Katie. Hi. This one is not one for you because you don't like the horror. I had Alien on this last week, and she was upstairs and she's like, "What the hell are you watching?" Because I had it on full blast, and the sound design of it is scary in itself. Never mind anything else. So she didn't like it. Alien, strike that like button and take a subscription if you haven't. My tapeworm thanks you all. That's Insane One. Thank you very much for that, Insane One. Love this movie. One of the first films that freaked me out as a kid. It's a 5 out of 5. I agree. That was a great stream last night. I concur. There you go. So that's the chat out of the way. So Ridley Scott's 1979 classic Alien. As I said in the intro, I've not seen this film for over 20 years, and this is such a classic. And it's set a standard for what films of this genre should be like. The quality, the effects, the design, the script, the characters, the casting as well. Just fantastic. And it's long been copied and homaged. Is that the right word? Is that right?
Homaged, yes.
Yeah, homage. Yeah, thank you. I pulled that one out somewhere, and and it is just an absolute classic film. Bit of a, you guys probably know this already, but this script was going around in the late 70s for a while, and they approached Ridley Scott. The studio approached Ridley Scott. He'd only done a lot of TV in the UK, and he'd done one film, including one of the Hovis adverts randomly as well. He was really well known for that, and he got this director's gig, and he sat down with them and they went through the script and everything, and they were finalizing a couple of things. And what they said was that the lead could be male or female because of how strong that character is written. And I think that's just fantastic that they were like, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, it's just a well-written character. And that's how I feel it should be anyway. But for this one, it surprised me how much it holds up even to this day, and how much it freaked me out. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and there were like some bits with the sound design, especially, and the bits with Ash. Just fantastic. I can see why it is so. It sounds like a really dumb thing to say, because I've loved Aliens and that franchise, but the first one never really gone back to so much. Leslie, how about yourself? When was the first time you saw this film? And obviously, I know you watched it this weekend with your partner.
I did. So the first time I watched it was actually maybe 3 to 4 years ago with Mike, because I grew up in a household where we just weren't allowed to watch movies like that. So I came very late to the Alien game, and oh, wow. I loved it. I was so impressed with this film, especially for a film of that time. It was incredibly well executed. And, in the introduction, it's Mike actually brought this up. It actually starts off very slow. It just establishes the hull of the ship and the shuttle and introduces it as an actual character, because the ship does play a huge part in the orchestration of how the whole plot unfolds. you know, where the alien hides,
and everything. Yeah.
Exactly, where the alien hides, where they try to find him. And the casting was just extraordinarily good. And we actually don't understand who the lead is until about halfway through, when they start establishing Ripley's kind of pushing back. You know, she's not just, you know, lying back and taking it. She's got people going against her a little bit in terms of ignoring quarantine procedure. You know, and the lighting that they did on the alien planet was stunning. They just used two tones, which was blue and black, and they executed it beautifully. The cinematography, wow. You know, and even this thing, we don't know. We don't know what it's from, who it is, you know, but the shot just really draws you in, and it keeps you interested, and it leaves you just wondering so much, and it just looks beautiful the way they've done it, you know. I was really impressed when I saw this film, and when I saw it for a second time, it just reiterated everything I loved about it the first time. The sound design was brilliant. It wasn't overdone. It was silent when it had to be to build suspense, and then they bring in the sound to just, you know, run it home. I think that Tom Skerritt as Dallas was great, and I was devastated when he died. It was really sad.
Do you know that Harrison Ford turned down the opportunity to be Dallas?
Is he kicking himself?
No, because obviously he ended up being Deckard in Blade Runner soon after with Ridley Scott.
Point.
But
it's
which
was a success all its own.
Yes, of course. Which we can do another week. But yeah, that was about 2-3 years later. They ended up doing that together, and maybe if they hadn't done that, then maybe they would have done Blade Runner together. So it's quite interesting that there's actually a deleted scene. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but there was a cocoon scene where Dallas is downstairs, and he's all like messed up, and he's all cocooned in this alien equipment. So I think they're like harvesting him and ready to do a chest burst, and it's intense, and who say Ridley, but it's Ripley. Ripley just sees that there's no hope for them, and she burns them. So it's such a intense scene, which I'm glad they kind of cut out, because it would have been a bit much for mainstream audiences.
Yeah,
especially for that time. Yeah, exactly. And the Fox Studios, 20th Century Fox, they wanted a big property, because obviously the success of Star Wars, so they were fast tracking a lot of sci-fi stuff, because they want us in space, get it out there. And they turned around to Ridley Scott and said, it's too dark, horror, it's a bit too gruesome, it's a bit too this, asked him to change all these things, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't change it. One of the also things I think is really interesting is that they left out the look of the alien throughout all of the marketing material, which I think is just genius, because when you first see it, obviously you've seen it out there in the cultural zeitgeist, but you got to think in 1979, that you never think it would look like that, in that, especially that day and age. So it was amazing how they did that. Shane, when was the first time you saw this?
I don't remember, because I was so young. I actually think I saw Aliens first.
Yeah, same here.
And then I realized I was watching them out of order. I went back and watched Alien, and I like this. We were on that stream last night. We were talking about our favorite horror films, and I cheated on two of them, because the two, when I say favorite, the question was, which movies haunted you and gave you nightmares as a kid? And the two that I named were the first Terminator film and the Alien and Aliens, because you can't reason with either the Terminator or one of these aliens. It's just beastly. There's no, it's coming after you and that's it. Like there's no, you can't talk to it, you can't reason it, you can't explain, you're not going to escape it. It's just, and something about that being chased by something which was relentless. it just really got under my skin. And say when I was a kid at night, if I was feeling anyway kind of nervous or something, then it was dark, you'd start to see shapes of things, and maybe they're, because they get everywhere, don't they? They come out of the walls in the second one. But I was really young. I think I was like younger than 10 watching this. And I mean, if you think 1979, this has a bang of like a mid-80s, mid-90s sci-fi film. Like, it was way ahead of its time. The work, like, I remember I watched a lot of I've watched a lot of kind of behind the scenes about those first two movies. And one of the things they said, like, they kind of took a leaf out of Jaws' book in a way, like, because it's like I think Jaws actually came after. I can't remember which one came before and after, but
Jaws was first, I believe.
First, I think they referenced that because a lot of times what you don't see scares you more. So if you see like a shadow or a distant movement in the dark, and you see a glimpse of something or a claw or something, your mind fills in the rest, and your mind, what you can imagine, is often a lot more treacherous. So they did that so well, because this is terrifying and intense, slow but intense through the whole film. And the crew had said, when we eventually show this thing, it has to look terrifying. Otherwise, no matter how good the film is, if the alien looks stupid, then it will not work. But the work that H.R. Giger did on this, the Swiss artist, like, I have a few of his books, like I have two of them there, creepy stuff, amazingly well drawn, but the most erotic, heavily designed, dark, creepiest designs. And his design on this thing is terrifying. Like, let's be honest. Like,
definitely.
This is movie making at its finest, as far as I'm concerned. The plot, relatively simple. Space truckers get a distress call, and then they get invaded by an alien life form. But it's the tension building and how they did it with John Hurt's character, and the eggs and the incubation. The idea of something coming out of you is creepy anyway. The idea that Ash, he's one of the most terrifying things of the whole
unbelievable
film.
Yes, I agree completely. He's unbelievable.
So good. And the last thing I'll say is, I'm kind of reiterating what we said about T2. When I was a kid, it never struck me as strange that the lead character was female. I did not care. I didn't care what gender they were or whatever, because it was just like, it made perfect sense, because this is like a blueprint, like Sarah Connor in Terminator 1 and 2, it's particularly Terminator 2, that how to write female characters. She's well written, she's well scripted, she's well directed, she's well acted, and it's just like she has a journey along the film, and it just worked really, really well. Whereas, like, you can have kind of a macho man character, but if he's really badly written and forced, you'll cringe your way through the movie. In the same way, if a female character is miscast or the script is bad, you'll cringe your way through the movie. But it was just her acting, the script sheet to work with, the movie itself, the direction. This is like,
100% agree. I think what they did with, again, everyone said well articulated as always there. Completely agree with you.
Thanks.
It's one of the things for me is that she is quite buttoned down. She follows the rules. She's on a freight ship. They're just bringing some ore back with them back to Earth. They're all knackered. They're all really tired from doing what they've been doing, and they just want to get home. That's all they want to do. They want to get home, and they want to put the feet up after being working so long away. And that could be set in the Nevada desert, of them trying to get back and then just getting a distress call. It could be a massive B movie, but the way they did it, was just so well, so amazingly well. And she's fantastic. I didn't realize how good she is in this. She's quite buttoned down. But that moment that she breaks,
she got
with
very
Ash,
buttoned down at the end.
Yeah. And how she... Very good. It
took you a while there, Leslie.
Unintended. Well played.
Like, a lot of nerds are going back to it. They were like 15 going, oh, yeah.
I was surprised with that bit as well, to be honest. But the bit when she breaks with Ash and she realizes what's happening with Mother and him and the directive that he has and about preserving this sample more than anything else, and she just breaks. That moment there is just fantastic for me. I think the level of acting that she's just so much weight on her shoulders, and she just had enough. I think it's just fantastic, and knowing what she knows at that point is just amazing. Ian Holm as Ash is truly terrifying. The moments that he is so like, I think there's a bit, and everyone else probably knows in the chat, and there's bits where he's slightly smiling when things are happening. When he's in the background, he's just looking and he's just slightly smiling. When everyone else is freaking out, he's there to just look at what's going on, and he's not affected, obviously, because he's a robot. But it's just fantastic.
He's on a work night out, that one guy who doesn't drink, and he's taking it all in.
Yes.
Like, remember
he makes fun of you all the next day. He's there on his soda water.
Yeah, and lime.
I think that the food scene where John Hurt, Kane's character, wakes up and he's really hungry, and they're all eating, they're all circular, they're all in a happy mood. The way he acted that scene out was in this realm of uncertainty. He knew that something was going to happen, but he wasn't exactly sure what. And he was literally on that fence of waiting. And the way he did that, the way he hid it from the characters, but showed it to the audience, was very, very well done. And when it finally happened, he was shocked. But he knew it was going to happen. And then Alien popped out of Kane's chest, and he was just like, this is it. Like, this shit just got real. I'm going to have to pretty much just wing it myself, basically. Yeah. And he was so menacing. He was so well written. I think that Ian Holm as the character was just genius casting in itself. And even the sequels just couldn't. I mean, Bishop was okay in Aliens, but this guy he had to have a 3-dimensional side to him, and they nailed it.
They really did. I mean, imagine. Everybody looked like they're about 40 years old, 45 years old. They're all smoking and they're all punching darts left, right, and center. And it was just kind of like they all looked knackered. And probably today you would not get a crew on a film. Harry Dean Stanton, Ian Holm, John Hurt. You obviously most of them are dead now, but like all those people, like that kind of level of acting level as well, because they're all fantastic actors, but also the way that they look and the way that they are. It just seemed to me it's just quite funny because they're not traditionally Hollywood good-looking people.
They look like normal people.
They
could have been truck drivers.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They seemed like they were heavily unionized. They were pissed off about this distress call. Like, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if this film was done today, say, they would cast a bunch of 20-year-olds.
Yeah, 100%.
Or a bunch of early 30-year-olds. And it's just so refreshing to go back to films like this, like The Thing as well. John Carpenter's The Thing. You should talk about that movie one day.
That was one I was going to suggest, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I got scolded
last
night. Yeah, I need. It's on my list, and I'll watch it this week.
Yeah. But going back to films like Alien and The Thing, where you watch just these normal general people who you can relate so much more to, that aren't perfect, that aren't all dolled up, that aren't all artificial. I think it's so refreshing, which is why I think people just always find their way back to the classics, because it's just so good and refreshing to watch. It really is.
It really is. I think it's the level of love and passion, and obviously it's not just Ridley Scott. It's everybody. It's collaborative effort. Obviously, you mentioned Geiger's work as well, Shane. That's amazing what he did. He worked on the one of the attempted Dunes. So they tried to make Dune a couple of times in the 70s, and he did a lot of work for them on that. And one of the screenwriters really liked his work and actually met him, and he was just as weird in real life as his artwork was, by all accounts. So that's quite interesting. Someone's just said, you get to 40, we are knackered. Yes,
Neil.
Because I am 40. Acid for Blood. Good morning, evening, everyone. This movie is right up my alley. Yes, with that avatar, I would say so. Someone said about Prometheus 3. Did you guys see Prometheus?
Oh, a while ago. I barely remember it, to be honest.
So they tried to explain the architect and all that, which I think the backstory and some of the lore with this, this, for example, this tried to get explained quite a bit within those Prometheus prequels, and I think some of this is just best left alone.
Agreed.
Because it's just seeing this, even though I'd seen Prometheus and everything myself, when I watched this, I was like, this is just so much depth to it. When it first came out, quite a few critics were very snobby about it. They were like, oh, it's just a haunted house in space and all this. And it was just, it's just like some like really famous.
Baller,
yeah, I know, yeah. And it's just, it's amazing to me to think that came, like you said, in the 70s, 1979, and it's so timeless. And obviously I watched the 4K remaster, so it looks primo. Obviously they'd remastered it. I'd watched a couple of bits of research into this, some old footage, and it was so grainy, so awful that it would look absolutely terrible on today's standards. But obviously now they have remastered it, and obviously it's well worth checking out if you haven't already. But it's just a fantastic film for me. It's so amazing. What really stood out to you, Leslie, in regards to the scenes? What were the things that really struck you and stuck with you?
For some reason, the scene that stuck out to me, it's not necessarily the scene with the alien either. It's the one with Brett. And it's the one where he's looking for the cat. He's looking for Jones. And he walks into this area, like this. It looks almost like an engine room, but it's not. And he just walks into the shot, which is just perfect symmetry. It's beautifully lit. And every time I see that shot, I think, why did Ridley Scott film it like that? Why didn't he just have the guy just walk in and looking for the cat? Why did that symmetrical shot have to be in that film? And I still don't have the answer. It still makes me think so much about it. But it's a shot that's always stuck with me. And again, as a whole, just the lighting, not necessarily the alien. What I love about the alien is that they kept him mysterious for the greater part of the film, which was brilliant. There's nothing wrong with mystery.
Yeah.
And I think films these days, they've dropped the ball on the mystery, and it's almost made audiences impatient because the creators think that the audience want to see the villain or the monster or the alien pretty much straight away. Whereas that's not always the case. The mystery is great. It builds suspense, like Shane was saying. But that shot, that symmetrical shot of Brett going into basically the area of his demise, basically, is for some reason a scene that I always find interesting.
Good answer. Yeah, they actually used a Labrador for the cat. You know, the cat's response. How it looked genuinely scared. They used a Labrador in the background to scare the cat when they were filming it. So that's how they did it. so they had a lab.
Oh, shit.
It was like...
Oh my God! Poor cat.
That's how they did it.
Could you imagine like the animal rights Twitter these days if it was done? It would just go insane.
The cat would be in counselling.
Yeah.
Goodbye, 9 lives.
Yeah. How about you, Shane?
Oh God! Again, like, where do I even start? Like, I definitely 100% think I'm gonna go for the obvious one for starters. Anyway, they did when they eventually showed the thing. I'm glad they didn't. I 100% agree with everything Leslie said. That they didn't just rush in and show you from the start, because you'd be kind of a bit, all right, there it is. There'd be no tension. But the fact that they just showed it in the shadows and parts, and when they did show it, it was terrifying. The actual design of the thing always struck me as, how does that get to someone's brain, a figment of someone's imagination, onto a page, onto multiple storyboards, into design, and then on the big screen? I just think that's amazing. Like, and it's such a unique design. It's like, does it have eyes? Doesn't have eyes? Are the eyes underneath that thing in the top? It has a mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They use KY jelly actually a
Yes,
lot
I was going to say that. Yeah.
for the dripping drool and the acid blood
Yeah.
coming out of it. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, most movies with KY jelly in them are fantastic. Like, I was like, sorry, I couldn't help myself. It was just low-lying fruit there. Right. Moving on. The other things then, like, which I found really, really stunning. Obviously, the chest burster scene. But even prior to that, the idea that this thing jumps out and grabs your face and then you can't breathe and you pass out and basically impregnates you through your mouth, like, that's messed up. Like, and it's still creepy to even think of the idea of something under your skin that, you know, like a virus that just shouldn't be there, like, you know. And then another strange one, the actual, if you remember, at the very start, like movies in the past, like this used to wreck my head when I was a kid, but as an adult, I appreciate it more. They have a really slow, it's just like panning in space, and then part of the A appears. Yeah. And then the rest of the A, and then the L. And like as a kid, if I was watching that, I'd be like, come on, just get to the movie. Watching it, the older I got, I was like, that tells you everything you need to know about this film.
I agree.
This film is going to be slow. Right, this film is going to be mysterious, and it involves an alien. It's going to be creepy. I actually really, really like that.
I 100% agree.
Completely agree. The scene for me was when they're trying to take the face hugger off his face, and it suddenly tightens its grip around his neck. That moment for me, really, for some reason, it really got me because it looks so real how it tightened it up. Because it's just such a reflex. It just went like that around, and obviously then they cut it. And obviously, when they were writing it, they wanted to figure out how they could get away with keeping it alive longer. This alien, for obviously you can't just like shoot it straight away because then that's it. You can't get too because you can't get too close, and the acid for blood and stuff. I think it's obviously great. That obviously the impregnation obviously is something that they wanted to do, that they didn't want it to be a lady getting this because obviously the direct correlation with pregnancy and stuff. So they wanted it to be a man experiencing that, and it to be something that they thought when it was like one of the writers, it needed to be a hook. It needed to be something. How is this alien going to get on the ship? They can't just have it sneak on. And that's how they thought about doing this facehugger thing. And it's just genius because obviously I was away at the weekend and I played an arcade game, and I played the Alien Marine game, and you got the shoot 'em up, and there's all these little facehuggers going along, and I'm like, this is like a 40-year-old idea that they had, and this is on a video game now, and it's just little things like that. You see how much this has such cultural impact and staying power. It's just fantastic. So that the facehugger bit for me. I love the bits when they're in the air vents. Obviously, it's in later on with aliens and stuff as well. But when they're looking for it, and they're just picking them off one by one, and it's just an unstoppable, like you said, machine. It's not. It's obviously it's a being, and it's just fantastic. I really, it's really stuck with me how much I enjoyed it as well. It's not something that it's not a blockbuster. It's a film. Do you know what I mean? It's not a movie. It's a proper film, and it's a piece of art, really. And I can see why this particular one has so much staying power. Obviously, 7 years later, we've got Jim Cameron's Aliens, which again I didn't realize there was that much time between the two. I thought it was quite soon after, but obviously Jim Cameron obviously did what he did with Terminator, and then he got asked to do that. He pitched the idea. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. On that particular bit with that facehugger, that's the bit that got me more than anything else. And I don't know why that was, because it just looks so real and so well done. It's that imagination. I mean, having those ideas, like you said, with the design and stuff.
Do you know when you just reminded me of something there? I remember like years ago, I bought when I bought DVDs, I bought the Alien quadrilogy. I was a sucker for a nice packaged box set. It was just a real cool box that folded out, and it was like all dark greens and stuff like that, and there was a bunch of special features, like, and did the whole, obviously watched all the movies that not that I'd seen them already at that stage, and watched all the commentary and all the featurettes and stuff like that. But one of the things we're talking about in Alien was the director's commentary. You know, when you watch the whole movie and the director talks over different parts. There's a shot of just the landing gear of the Nostromo from the outside, and it's just like, I think they've gone back to the ship, like, because it's too stormy or whatever, and you can just see one of the landing gears, and obviously a load of dry ice, like it's all kind of, you know, carbon dioxide and stuff, and you can see a moon in the background, just one moon, but that's actually a torch. Ridley Scott, they're about to shoot the scene, and we're like, yeah, we just want the landing gear and some smoke and some terrain or whatever. And just before they were about to shoot action, Ridley just goes, one second. He walks to the far end of the studio with his torch and just turns it on and points it directly towards the camera. And you only see it for a split second. And people are like, well, why are you doing that? He's like, because the eye will see what makes sense. And what makes sense is, it's obviously light from a moon. But if you rewatch it again, it's clearly a flashlight. But you don't catch it the first time because it's like,
that's amazing.
It's just the moon. And you know, cost them nothing, like, you know what I mean? But
that's so interesting.
I love stuff like that. Yeah. I love that.
Next time you watch it, see if you can spot it. So landing gear outside, and there's just one moon, but it's just a torch. You know,
that's so amazing. That is so amazing. Yeah, I love that. I was going to say,
it's actually, now that you mentioned that scene, Shane, there was actually quite a few scenes. Not only when they landed on the planet, but when they were inside the Nostromo itself. They made the characters out to be very small in comparison to the rest of the ship, to, I suppose, maybe symbolize the insignificance of a human being in that world and in that shuttle, in that machine. Especially when they were on the planet. The planet was very elegantly big in comparison to them, which were always pictured to be quite small in the background or the foreground, which I found quite interesting. And maybe when they were on the planet, it also added symbolism to the fact that they were very unprepared for what was about to happen.
Yeah. Well, they had no clue, did they? Yeah, because it was. What did she say? She said it looks like a distress signal, but it was a warning. I like that moment. Yeah, that realization. That was that
gives you a bit of a shiver, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, because they're all decoding it, and then they're already out there by that point. It's so well done.
Then in like the things on its side, isn't it? Like at the end of Prometheus, kind of shows us how that comes to be.
Yes,
I would agree with you though. I didn't need to know what that contraption is. I think that was kind of like the mystery. I didn't need that. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
In the same way, like I didn't need to know that much about Boba Fett, but at the same time, I was salivating at the thought of seeing Boba Fett again. And Prometheus, I know maybe I was a bit of a snob, a purist. I was kind of going, nah, it's the first 3 Alien films. I still like the third one. Whereas the fourth one, not so much. But Prometheus at the time was like, yeah, it's grand. But you know, I went back and rewatched it a few years later, and I was like, no, it's a good film. It's never going to be the first and second movie, but I still enjoy it. But I tend to agree with the two of you. Sometimes things you don't need to explain everything. Like.
Yeah, I think there was always that risk when you do a prequel that you have to individually, like say for example, Solo. How did he get his blaster? Well, he got it off Woody Harrelson.
How did he get his name?
He get his name. Cool, you're on your own. Yeah, you're Solo. You're Mr. Solo.
And it was almost like, you see that?
But like explaining away too many things to take away the mystery. But also as well, I think a lot of prequels take away some of the weight out of things like this. So when you're watching something, you're like, you know how this is going to go long term. You know this character is going to be okay. Like one of the things with I'm watching Andor at the minute. I'm struggling a bit with it, to be honest with you.
Really?
It's a bit slow. It's a bit slow.
Yeah.
I'm
a sucker for slow. I'm an awful sucker for slow films. Once you get
too long to get to where it is, that's the thing. Like, I'm hoping that it's gonna pay off because it's trying my patience a bit. But it's like 6 hours in. I'm like, fucking hell, Jesus.
Have you ever seen Unbreakable?
Yes.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan, yeah.
Like that's a slow film, but
I love
you get
that film.
Payoff. Like,
yeah.
I think his earlier stuff definitely, like before he went off the wall, kind of like his earlier Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, those kind of hits, like they really made me appreciate films that are a bit slower, like, you know. But
Yeah.
Signs
Signs is a good one for
is
me.
beautiful.
It's
I
just so
love that film.
amazing. Mel
Love it.
Gibson in that is just so amazing in that film. He's just absolutely spot on.
Joaquin Phoenix is there as well, isn't he?
Joaquin Phoenix
is.
Hey,
He
well,
is, and he did a good job.
Every time, sometimes like I pick up a glass of water and I drink it and I leave some here, and then I come in and like if I see 2 or 3 glasses of water, I go, "Jeez." I'll literally say it, and Megan could be there, and I'll be like, "Geez, what is this, signs?" And like to this day, I still haven't explained where that comes from. She kind of he's just talking crap again. But I must actually explain where the reference comes from. Like,
that's amazing. I love that. We should do that one day. When Lyle's popped in and said, "Great discussion. Make sure you hit that like button." Is impregnated 100%.
The face huggers are going to impregnate the like button.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hilarious.
Of the best documentaries with Blu-ray set. Love it. Yeah, I love the fact that when you used to buy a Blu-ray DVD set, used to have these amazing making of and commentaries and everything like that. When you buy stuff on iTunes and things, there's not as many special features and they don't shoot as much with regards to documentaries and stuff. It's such a shame. That's something that's died off, which is something that should be really nurtured, really, because you want to see what happens behind the scenes, and
especially for $17.99. Like I love Apple TV because, like, I mean, I know you can get torrent sites, but like, I don't want to do that. I want to have a collection. I want to have like just on demand to click in and get that high detail. I don't want to have to X out of 20 million pop-ups to watch a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But for $17.99, when you're not getting the artwork, you're not getting the physical product, they should be bumping up those extras.
I agree.
You're dead right. There's some, but there's not there's not a lot.
Yeah. There really isn't, and it's even with some of the Marvel stuff. Like they could make with what they did in Infinity War and Endgame, they could make a fantastic documentary, and including how they did certain shots just for the trailers and the behind the scenes stuff. They didn't do any of that, and it's like that should be something that should be preserved. That thing, unless it's too much of a showing you what's behind the curtain. I don't know. Andre said, "I can't forgive them for killing off Newt and Hicks." Yeah, they did that off screen. For Hicks, it was because the actor was an alcoholic and was experiencing some, I think he was drug addiction as well at the time. So he had to take himself off, and he pissed off enough people on set apparently by that time. So they had to kill him off set. Yes, Kyle Reese, who showed up recently in Mando, with the Ahsoka Tano episode. He's the sheriff in that one, I believe. But yeah, so you can tell he's had a bit of a problem there, which is such a shame because he's such a great presence. He's also very good in Tombstone, which is a film that I want to talk about one week as well, if you guys will be up for that, because it's such a fantastic film.
Definitely.
Slow burn movie. Nothing really happens for at least 45 minutes. Yeah. Always wanted to go to film school. With that said, I extremely enjoy this film and panel. Much gratitude. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you so much. The studio killed off Newt and Hicks. Yes, they did. But there was behind the scenes issues with that as well. That's one of the reasons why he annoyed enough people. Physically is the best way. You can't change anything splash. For example, Kid Me remembers the beach scene. Now they digitally make her hair longer to cover things physically. Which scene are we talking about? Is this from which film's that? Insane
Splash. He's actually talking about
Splash. Oh, right. Oh,
Splash. The movie Splash. Okay.
As in the Splash in the film. Okay. Yes. I did. Yes. Okay. Less said that about the better. But great chat, guys. Thank you so much. So next week, I'm thinking about covering Black Panther because we have Wakanda Forever coming out on the Friday. And the following week, I want to talk about Wakanda Forever. Is that a bit too overkill, or what do you think? Do you think you'd be happy seeing those two films?
No, I think that's fine. I want to see the first Black Panther before I see Wakanda Forever. Anyway,
yeah, I was thinking about that anyway. I thought because it's all on Disney Plus. We don't have to pay for anything. It's already out there. People can go out and see it on Disney Plus. It's a very good quality one now. They've recently they've recently updated it a bit on there. Thank you, Acid for Blood. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit the subscribe on the way out to myself and these two wonderful panelists. Their links are in the description. Yeah, so next week we'll do Black Panther. Leal says he's going to join that one as well. And obviously the week after we will talk about Wakanda Forever. And I believe Al will be on Wakanda Forever, and so will Attention Seeking Geek with ourselves as well. So it should be a big full panel. So yes. So Leslie, thank you again for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich.
What have you got coming up on your channel?
Goodness. Well, I will be starting to do more live streams. So I have done a few test runs, as I'm sure people can see, and my mornings are definitely better for everyone else because a lot of my subscribership are in the UK and in the US. Yeah. Not many people in Australia. So I will start doing streams in my AM. Just about general topics, and of course we'll invite you gentlemen on as well. And of course, my figure news episodes. Episode 2 will be airing on the Batman Statue Collectors channel either this or next week. I'll upload a little teaser trailer just to direct everyone to his page so they can find it. More film reviews, which I'm really excited about, or film essays. I really enjoy a deep dive.
I was going to say. There was I watched your Black Adam one day after our live stream. I was like, there's some stuff there that she's got already pre-written. I wonder why she's so eloquent and so well put. She'd written this before.
I'd written that before. Yeah. Guilty.
But no, they were really good. They're really good.
She's got, one of those like crime scenes with all the little connections around.
All the connections together.
You know that meme?
All the symbolism and all this.
Yeah, I love metaphors and all that shit. But so I'll be doing more film essays, and we'll try and do some more custom videos. They take a long time, and I'm really enjoying doing the other content, but I'll try and balance it all out. And of course, I do Rise and Shine with Leia every Thursday night or my Friday morning. So hopefully we can get you guys on some episodes with that. That'd be great. Absolutely. Rich, we had a ball last time, so I'd love to have you on again.
Oh, absolutely loved it. It was a great. If you got a chance to see it, Shane, it was a good hour of just chatting film and pop culture, and it was a really good time. I really genuinely enjoyed it. It was a great stream.
It made me want to have chai tea.
Yeah. Not the 18-shot coffee that I had then.
No,
that I kind of, just listening to you, I needed to go to the bathroom.
yeah, this is all that time.
Nice.
Powerful laxative coffee is.
Yes, exactly. There's something that Empire Strikes Again would like to has said. Wouldn't normally do this, but it's my wife Gemma's birthday tomorrow. She puts up with a lot for my collecting. Could you give her a shout out? That's lovely. Major shout out to Mrs. Empire Strikes Again. Hope you have a lovely birthday tomorrow. And he said, great show. Thank you, guys. Thank you again for all your support, buddy. Really appreciate that. And I hope you have a nice time with your good lady tomorrow on her birthday.
Absolutely.
Shane, what have you got coming up on your channel?
Oh man, thanks very much for inviting me. Like, this is just like, I was
pleasure,
excited
man.
for the whole day because just this is.
That's nice.
I could talk about this film like just 24/7. It's just one of those absolute gems. Like, it's just a great movie. Like, I could watch this, stop it, and then press play again and still enjoy it. Like, but yeah, we'll have to do Aliens again in a while.
Yes,
like,
I was thinking that. Yeah,
it's a kind of an obvious one to do. But no, what's going up on my channel? Well, look, I have basically went through everything today. I had to, like I said, clean and rearrange. Stuff has to be done every so often, and I want to prepare for some content. So I won't bore you with a long list of stuff, but I've a lot of content coming over the next few days. So just if you haven't done so already, subscribe to 16 Figure Focus and follow at 16 Figure Focus on Instagram. So plenty of content coming over the next few days.
Absolutely. I also forgot to put up Marvelous as banner there, so I'm sorry about that. So if anyone can subscribe to Marvelous and to 1/6 Figure Focus. Takes me a while to get that head around that one. Always great content, always great having you on, Shane. You're a great guy, and it's obviously brilliant to have you on as well.
Thank you.
Really enjoy you spending time with us as well. It's great. It's one of the things what I love about this is that we can go back to something that a lot of times obviously is a classic, and it's sometimes we can wax lyrical and talk positively about it, and I'm always conscious of being overly positive on some things, but when it's something like this, it needs to have that us talking about things like, because some people may not necessarily have seen it or been such a long time, so to go and watch it again like I did last week, I couldn't believe how long it's been since I've seen it and how much I loved it. So I think it's great to go back to the well of classics, and there's a reason why they are classics, because they age so well. For me, and I'll get my banner's at the bottom anyway. For me, I have not got a lot on coming up this week, apart from appearing on Thursday's Rise and Chai with Layal and Les. But I am hoping to do a regular movie news stream. And obviously we can talk about Les as well, where we're going to be talking about movie news for the week and relevant pop culture, little news, little tidbits. I'm also thinking about putting something together at the back end of that, where it's like everybody watches or listens to the Weekly Planet, which is a what you're reading, what you're going to read section, which is basically what you're watching for that week. What am I going to watch? What have I watched recently? What can you talk about? What can you recommend? And also, if it's any comics or any things like that, or graphic novels that you can recommend to the stream and to the chat, it's always great. Yeah. So I want to do something like that. So I think I'm going to do either a Thursday or a Friday evening, probably Thursday straight after Rise and Chai. So if everybody can subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's with Reviews with Rich. As I said earlier, I hit the 300 mark, which I'm really, really happy about. It's only been a few months, so thank you very much for everyone's support. So here's to 700 more. but I'll get there little by little. Before we go, I just want to quickly say and thank you to the chat. Ren's amazing stream. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Ren's. Everyone's saying that sounds great, Rich. Oh, that's lovely. Brilliant. Well, thank you again, everybody, today. And please tune in for next week's. We'll be talking Marvel Studios Black Panther, and the week after we'll be talking about Wakanda Forever. So again, thank you everybody who has tuned in and who's watching on the replay. Please subscribe and like, and if you would like to see any of this covers any of the films in the future, please comment below. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.